What's up, dude? What's up? Yeah, I just missed a pretty great game with Select and a bunch of noobs, but also a couple people that knew how to play, and they sent a well, it was 3v4. We had one guy AFK on 2 and then leave, and then 3v4, and then on yeah, and then on 10, one of our guys leaked and then he left. He only leaked one and he left. He's an idiot for that. But he was the guy who helped us S. But anyway, I got sent to DT and my random refined towers, like the only DPS I got for my third set was Neo tank. So I had to build a Neo tank for 10. And so I leaked one investor even with the DT because I did a nice little sneaky, distraction of the investors by building stuff along the side and coming down. But anyway, so we passed it, but the other team leaked 5. They had 4 people, but they leaked 5 investors, and it seemed like their SS wasn't buffed at all, and it just died so fast. But I don't know. It doesn't sound as interesting when I say it, but it's pretty interesting to me. At the same time, you're outnumbered 2 to 4, and you win. It's pretty cool, man. Shut up. Now let's listen to this guy with the cool voice talk about space.
In that case, that we were one of those lucky 20 that got to us in time. And we stared at it for about 40 hours continuously. And to provide some context, the dip that we saw in the calculator corresponded to a Neptune-sized moon around a Jupiter-sized planet, which was another reason why I was skeptical, is that we don't have that in the solar system. That seems so strange. And then when we got the Hubble data, it seemed to confirm exactly that. There was 2 really striking pieces of evidence in the data that suggested this moon was there. Another was a fairly clear second dip in light, pretty clearly resolved by Hubble. There's about a 5 sigma detection. And on top of that, we could see the planet didn't transit when it should have done. It actually transited earlier than we expected it to, by about 20 minutes or so. And so that's a hallmark of a gravitational interaction between the planet and the moon. We actually expected that. You can also expect that if the moon transits after the planet, then the planet should come in earlier than expected, because the Bowery center, the center of mass, lives between the 2 of them, kind of like on a balancing arm between them. And so we saw that as well. So the phase signature matched up. The mass of the moon was measured using Neptune mass, and the size of the moon was measured using Neptune radius. And so everything just really lined up. And we spent months and months trying to kill it. This is my strategy for anything interesting. We just try and throw the kitchen sink at it and say, we must be tricked by something. And so we tried looking at the centroid motion of the telescope, at the different wavelength channels that have been observed, the pixel level information. And no matter what we did, we just couldn't get rid of it. And so we submitted to Science. And I think at the time, Science, which is one of the top journals, said to us, would you mind calling your paper Discovery of an Exomoon? And I had to push back, and we said, no, we're not calling it that. Even despite everything we've done, we're not calling it a discovery, we're calling it evidence for an exomoon. Because for me, I want to see this.
That guy's an idiot. Yeah, maybe it was literally a different game where it was a 2v4 and died on 10.
multiple times before I really would let my hands.
Oh, freaking night.
I mean, and I do worry, as I said, that perhaps that's my own self-skepticism going too far. But I think it was the right decision, and since that day, has been interested in the subject, has managed to analyse that stuff, and actually pretty much exactly the same results as us, the same dip, the same wobble on the planet. And a third team looked at it and they actually got something different. They saw the dip was diminished compared to what we saw. They saw a little hint of a dip, but not as pronounced as what we saw. And they saw the wobble as well. So there's been a little bit of tension about analysing the reduction of the Hubble data. And so the only way, in my mind, to resolve this is just to look again. We actually did propose to Hubble straight after that. And we said, look, if our model is right, if the moon is there, it came in late last time. It transited after the planet. Because of the orbit, we can calculate that it should transit before the planet next time. If it's not there, it doesn't transit before, and even if we see a dip afterwards, we know that's not our moon. It's obviously some instrumental effect with the data. We had a causal prediction of where the moon should be. And so I was really excited about that. I was getting on. And eventually, we know we have to predict the capability because if I predict where the planet is, some of the accuracy whether next year becomes incredibly hard. The uncertainties just grow and compound as we go forward into the future one.
How were you able to know where the moon was positioned? So you're able to tell the like geometry and frequency?
Yeah, so from the basically from the wobbles of the planet itself, that tells us the orbital motion of the moon, the reflex motion of the moon.
But isn't it just an estimate where, like, I'm concerned about you making this wrong prediction, because like if you don't get the moon where the moon leads on the next time around, you get Hubble on. Couldn't that mean something else if you didn't see that? Like, because you said it would be an instrumental. I feel which is good. And yeah, this is such
it's often said that for any detection of a first new phenomena, you really want like a 20, 25 second detection, then there's just no doubt that what you're seeing is real. This was at that edge. I mean, I guess it's comparable to the Higgs boson, but the Higgs boson was slightly different because there was so much theoretical impetus as to expect a signal at that precise location. A Neptune-sized moon was not predicted by anyone. No one. There was no papers you could find that expect Neptune-sized moons or Jupiter-sized planets. So I think we were inherently skeptical about its reality for that reason. But this is science in action, and when we fit the wobbles, we fit the dips, and we have this 3D geometric model for the motion of the object, and we can project that down about 80% of that projection.
Not enough minerals.
20% of the cases. But to me, that was a hard projection. What I really want a refutable basis of science, a falsifiable hypothesis. How can you make progress in science if you don't have a falsifiable, testable hypothesis? And so that was the beauty of this particular case.
So there's a numerical simulation with the moon. This is so cool.
Okay, it's fun. These are like little solar systems that we can simulate on the computer and imagine their motions. But we are pushing things to the very limits of what's possible, and that's a double-edged sword. It's both incredibly exciting intellectually, but you're always risking to some degree pushing too far.
So I'd like to ask you about the recent paper you co-authored. ExoMoon survey of 70 cool giant exoplanets, and the new candidate Kepler 17 names guide.
I'd say there's like 3 or 4 candidates. And if it's me, zero, quite and so there are getting protection is active. for instance, an example of a technique that would lack that would be gravitational microlensing. So it's possible with a new telescope coming up in the future, called the Roman Space Telescope, which is basically a purpose-built satellite that's the size of the Hubble mirror in space. It will stare at billions of stars simultaneously, and it will look to see, instead of whether any of those stars get dimmer for a short amount of time, which will be a transit, it'll look at the opposite. It'll look to see if it gets brighter. And that brightness increase is caused by another planetary system happening in front, and then gravitation. And so this is a method of discovering the entire solar system, but only for a place. You just get a short glimpse passing like a ship sailing through the night, just that one photo of it. Now the problem with that is that it's very difficult. The physics of gravitational lensing are not surprisingly quite complicated, and so there's many possible solutions. So you might have a solution which is this could be a red dwarf star with a Jupiter-like planet around it. That's one solution. But another solution is that it's a free-floating planet, a rogue planet like Jupiter, with an Earth-like planet. And those two solutions are almost indistinguishable. Now, ideally, we would be able to look at the observation, be able to go back and see, well, if the moon really is there, then we can predict its mass and predict its motion, expect it to be maybe over here next time or something. With microlensing, it's a one snapshot thing. Something like this is the population. What I always do that time because it's going back to looks absolutely
not enough minerals.
And prove everyone that like on the 17th of October we will be going to look like this actually can. And that's what we see with, of course, many exoplanets. So we want to get to that same point of full confidence, full confirmation, the slam dunk detection of these exomoons. But yeah, it's been a hell of a journey to try and push the field into that direction. And
is there some resistance to the transit method?
Not to the transit, I just think the exomoons. So the transit method is by far the most but yeah, as I've alluded to, exomoons is kind of a niche out there. And that's largely because there are people I think are waiting for those slam dunks. And it was like if you go back to the first exoplanet discovery that was made in 1995 by Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz, I think it's true at the time that they were seen as mavericks, that the idea of looking at planets around stars was considered fringe science. And I'm sure many colleagues told them why they didn't do something more safe, like study eclipsing stars, to binary star systems. We know those exist, so why are you wasting your time looking for planets? You're going to get this alien moniker or something. You'll be seen as a fringe maverick scientist. And so I think it's just like seriously, that's a very this thing that they do it, except for those that like 10% because they didn't have to necessarily worry about the implications of it. And so what happened with discoveries overnight, everyone and their dog was getting exoplanets, and all of a sudden the whole astronomy community shifted, and huge numbers of people that were once upon a time studying ecliptic binaries changed to becoming exoplanet scientists. And so that was the first wave of exoplanet scientists. We're now in a kind of second wave or third wave where people like me to some degree kind of grew up with the idea of exoplanets as kids. I something that's normal idea to grow up in exoplanets from the very beginning. And so that brings a different perspective to those who have maybe transitioned from a different career path. And so I suspect with exomoons of probably techno-signatures, astrobiology, many of the topics which are seen at the fringes of what's possible, they will open up to becoming mainstream.
Additional supply depots required.
There's a lot of people who are just waiting.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
Assuredness.
Additional supply, not enough minerals.
Before they connect. More serious things.
kind of like, you know, it would be nice. But imagine the first time you discover a living organ. That's going to change. Then everybody would look like an idiot for not focusing everything on this. Because the possibility of things, it's possible it might be super boring. It might be very boring bacteria. But even the existence of life elsewhere, that changes everything. That means life
would surely be like, well, this is clearly going to be the direction I have to dedicate my classes and my training and my education towards that direction.
All the new textbooks, all the yeah, right. And I think there's a lot of value to hedging, like allocating some of the time to that possibility. Because the kind of discoveries we might get in the next few decades, it feels like we're on the verge of a lot of getting a lot of really good data and having better and better tools that can process that data. So there's just going to be a continuous increase of the kind of discoveries that will open. But a slam dunk, that's hard to come by.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are anticipating, we're already seeing it to some degree with Venus and Phosphines. But we've seen before with Bill Clinton, the White House announcing life. They're inevitable. That's the mechanism of science at play, of people scrutinizing the results to intense skepticism. And it's like a crucible. You know, you burn away all irrelevances until whatever is left is the truth. And so you're left with this product, which is that, okay, we either believe or don't believe that bias images are there. So there's inevitably going to be a lot of controversy and debate and argument about it. We just have to anticipate that. And so I think you have to basically have a thick skin to some degree academically to dive into that world, and you're seeing that with phosphine. It's been uncomfortable to watch from the outside the kind of dialogue that some of the scientists have been having with each other about that, because
they get a little aggressive.
Yeah, and you can understand.
Jealous? I don't know.
But there's also, in any case, just the particular people involved in Venus alone, in any case of making it a claim of that magnitude, especially life, because life is pretty much one of the biggest discoveries of all time, if you can imagine scientifically, you can see. And I'm so conscious of this in myself when I get closer, as I said, to much smaller goals than mentally. The ego. As scientists, we have to be so guarded against our egos. You see the lights in your eyes of a Nobel Prize, or the fame, fortune, and being remembered in the history books, and we all grew up in our training learning about Newton and Einstein, these giants of the field, Feynman and Maxwell, and you get the idea of these individual contributions which get immortalized for all time, and that's seductive. It's why many of us with the skill set to go into maybe
Additional
banking
supply
instead
depots
decided,
required.
Actually, there's something
Insufficient
about the
Vespine
idea of being
gas.
immortalized and contributing towards society in a permanent way that is more attractive than the financial reward of applying my skills elsewhere. So to some degree that ego can be a benefit because it brings in skillful people into our field who might not be able to make money elsewhere. On the other hand, if the closer you get towards start learning that Nobel Prize in life, I think you're on the verge of seeing something you can lose objectivity. A very famous example of this is Barnard's Star. There was a planet claimed there by Peter van der Kamp, I think in 1968, 69. And at the time it would have been the first ever exoplanet ever claimed. And he felt assured that this planet was there. He was actually using the wobbling star method, but using the positions of the stars to see them, to claim this exoplanet. It turned out that this planet was not there. Subsequent analyses by both dynamicists, theorists, and those looking at the instrumental data established fairly unanimously that there was no way this planet was really there. But Peter van der Kamp insisted it was there, despite overwhelming evidence that was accruing against him. And even to the day he died, which was, I think, in the early 90s, he was still insisting this planet was there, even when we were starting to make the first genuine exoplanet discoveries. And even at that point, I think Hubble had even looked at that star and had totally ruled out any possibility.
The flip side of that is sometimes you need that to have the strength to carry a belief against the entire scientific community that resists your beliefs. And so it's a double-edged sword. I guess it's evidence. In this case, the evidence is so I mean,
and there was just no doubt at this point this planet was mirage. And so that's why you have to be very careful. I always say don't ever name, my wife, my daughter, name this planet after me that you discover. And I can't ever name a planet after you because I won't be objective anymore. How could I ever turn around to you and say that planet wasn't real, that I named after you?
So you're somebody that talks about it's clear in your eyes and your way of being that you love the process of discovery, that joy, the magic of just,
Additional supply depots required.
New observation.
Additional
new
supply
idea,
depots required.
right? But I guess the point is when you have that great feeling, switch on the skepticism, like to start like testing. This is real. Different interpretation. Like there's a lot of grand and so people never wander in skepticism.
Yeah, I just the more I want something to be true, the more I inherently doubt it. And I think that just comes from, I grew up with a religious family and was just sort of indoctrinated to some degree, like many children are, that there's just normal, that there's a God and this is the way the world is. God created the earth. And then as I became more, well-read and literate of what was happening, what scientifically, I started to doubt.
Additional supply
and it really
depots
just struck
required.
me that the hardest thing to let go of when you do decide not to be religious anymore, and it's not really like a light bulb moment, but just kind of happens over when you go to 11 to 13 and things happen. This could be so, and I have no evidence directly in terms of a scientific sense to support this hypothesis, and it just became really difficult to reconcile my growth as a scientist. And I know some people find that reconciliation. I have not. Maybe I will one day. But as a general guiding principle, which I think I think it's going to sway me to say things which are not true if I'm not careful, and that's not what we're trained to do as scientists.
So you felt from a religious perspective that there was a little bit of a gravitational field in terms of your opinions, like it was affecting how you could be as a scientist. Like as a scientific thinker, obviously you were young.
Yeah, I think I think that's true. That whenever there's something you want to be true, it's the ultimate no seduction intellectually. And things like this whatever this big question is, there is a part of us, I think, I would love there to be life in the universe. I hope there is life in the universe, but I'm somewhat been on record several times as being fairly trying to remain consciously agnostic on that question. I don't think I'm about what the answer is. That's not a scientific experiment anymore. You've already decided, so what are you trying to what's the point of doing the experiment if you already know what the answer is? There's no point.
It's so complicated because, so if I'm being honest with myself, when I imagine the universe, so first thing I imagine about our world is...
Wait, you guys see that last game I was trying to ping? Oh, sorry, I was trying to build and all it was doing was pinging, dude. All it was pinging. Such pain. Am I at Turkey? Because every time I see Dubs or some other pro, I just leave the game. I don't want to play the Line Tower Wars. I only want to play it if, like, the person's rating is 2150 or lower. Because the people that are 2400, it's too difficult. I don't know, it gives me too much stress. I like shit games. Line Tower Wars still isn't chill, but playing the hardest people, it's so stressful and horrifying. The people that aren't like crazy good, it's like not stressful to the end. It's like not stuff. If you can hear it, it's not fun. I'll show you ways, you ain't gonna know. Stonks.
No, very... My first assumption is I know almost nothing about how anything works. So first of all, that actually applies for things that humans do know, like quantum mechanics and all the things that there's different expertises that I just have not dedicated to. So even that starting point. But if we take all of knowledge as human civilization, we know almost nothing. That's kind of an assumption I have. Because it seems like we keep discovering mysteries, and it seems like human history is defined by moments when we said, okay, we pretty much figured it all out, and then you realize a century later, when you said that, you didn't figure out anything. Okay, so that's like a starting point. The second thing I have is, I feel like the entirety of the universe is just, statistical. The important thing that enables that belief for me is that they don't have to be human-like. They can be anything. And it's just the fact that life exists, and just seeing the way life is on Earth, that it just finds a way. It finds a way in so many different complicated environments.
The doctor is in.
Whatever that force is, that same force has to find a way elsewhere. But then if I'm also...
It feels funny, like most games I'm not like that great at, but this game is one of those games where I'm actually top tier.
Not enough minerals.
That's strange.
Better send some body bags.
Maybe they just got one right there.
Better send some body bags.
I don't know how many hours you can expect. Seriously consider the possibility of rebel. I don't know. Well,
The enemy is attacking our drones.
Line imagine the world alone. Like really imagine all the vastness out there were alone. That not even bacteria.
Not
I would
enough
say you don't
minerals.
have to believe that we are alone, but you have to admit it's a possibility of our ignorance of the universe so far. You can have a belief about something in the absence of evidence. Carl Sagan makes me representative. If you believe something
Not
when there's
enough
no evidence,
minerals.
you have faith that there's life. You can't demonstrate, you can't prove it mathematically, you can't show the evidence of that. Is there some
intuition? There's some basic reason. Is there some value to that?
Better send some body bags.
You can certainly make very good arguments. I've already made one. Just the surely there should be others out. That's hard to imagine. There are over 10 to the 22 stars.
Not enough minerals.
And so the question comes down to what's the probability of one of those 10 to 22 planets, let's say, those like going on spontaneously. That's the process of
Not enough minerals.
Also the word spontaneous.
Well, again, maybe we're just spontaneous, but not being, let's say, seeded by it naturally emerges. Yeah.
Not enough minerals.
Chemistry and
Our drones are under attack.
Pushes it towards create something that
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird.
Not enough minerals.
Right? Because,
Not enough minerals.
It seems like the opposite of physical intuition, because it's effectively the intuition. The complexity is hard, just one and so that's an interesting problem. I think there's been, certainly from an evolutionary perspective, we do see growing complexity. And there's a nice argument who shows that if you have a certain amount of complexity, it can easily become less complex for computation. And the less complex things are stripping away some of the necessary potential to that survival. So in general, that's going to be not particularly useful in survival. It's going to be detrimental to stripping away useful traits. Whereas if you add something
Not enough
that looks
minerals.
typical,
The enemy is attacking our drones.
doesn't really affect its life negatively, but benefit. But sometimes occasionally. So if you're at a certain level of complexity, it's hard to go back to complexity, but it's fairly easy to go forward with enough bites in the cherry, but eventually build up
Not enough
complexity.
minerals.
That tends to be why we see complexity grow in some evolutionary sense, but also perhaps in some way led to complexity. I guess the bit that really we are
Not enough
talking about
minerals.
certain problems that occur. It may be to go from the ingredients that the Earth started with, the organic molecules, the probability of going from that initial condition to something that we could have done with natural selection that we could
find his life. The
Not
probability
enough
that is
minerals.
1%.
Not
So
enough
it's not that happens,
minerals.
in which case you're
Our
right,
drones are under attack.
but of course it's 10 to power minus 10, in which case it's 1 megatonity. 10 to power minus 100, in which case the vast majority of the universe like corner, it's 1%, it's a 1%. Conditions, chemical conditions are correct. And the challenge is we just have no rigorous reason to expect why 90%
Our SCVs are under attack.
than 10 to the power minus 20. Well, the thing is, we do have an observation at 1. And we don't do with that kind of intuition.
Not enough minerals.
On top of that,
The enemy is attacking our drones.
like light finds
Our drones are under attack.
in all kinds of ways. Good. And is able to build up basic chemistry. You could say, okay, maybe it takes a little bit of time to develop some complicated technology with my cadre. I don't know, like,
Not enough.
The doctor is in.
fine, but it seems to figure it out. And like,
Yeah, I think you described it as I can't build here. Maybe I'm a describe basically selection information. Whereas I'm describing it
Not enough.
you limited
Our
like,
SCVs are under
why would
attack.
you use them? Why do you work? I can't build here. Why? I mean, we're uncomfortable with the I can't build here.
Not enough
And
minerals.
where does this come from?
Right, so I think
Our
I just
SCVs are under attack.
you're saying why in the different process, why how can I show which is the we have capital efficient natural selection. We have no information about the earliest stage of how you're gonna give me orders. It may be
Shock Kilo. Don't prod me, boy. Give me some chew.
As a scientist, I'm just trying to be open-minded to both possibilities. If I assert that I can help everywhere, to me,
Lift up and get go. What's up? Don't have a cow, man.
Not enough minerals.
Your interpretation of that data. Whereas I, however critical I be, the agnostic that I pose to myself, remain open to both possibilities, then I trust in myself to make a fair assessment of the reality of that evidence.
Not enough.
Yeah, I wonder
Not
since I and that's really curious and inspiring. I wonder scientifically how many firsts truly know, and then we don't actually explain.
Not enough minerals.
That's actually
Not enough minerals.
a step of the process. So to me, that's a really interesting thing. There's truly person. You know, for us, whatever happened, it's a that person. It just, again, it seems like history shows that we figure out that it's actually a continuation. This is the same times sociology, times kind of construct. So whatever we call life.
The doctor is in.
Yeah, and I would also say I'm open to help here. Part of the consideration. But the consideration and it's the consideration of chemical systems and chemical networks. And what we call this one particular type of chemistry as a behavior of chemistry life. But it is just one manifestation of what the possible
Not enough
adaptations of
minerals.
chemical reactions can occur.
The doctor
And
is
we
in.
Not enough minerals.
The doctor is in.
to it because that's
Not
what we
enough
are.
minerals.
And so this is always, it's
Not
also
enough
intelligence
minerals.
seeking the same thing as they
Not
The doctor is in.
find intelligence. Where's that? That's something that's really like that's hard to know. There may be chemical systems and intelligence out there, and we have to be careful of our own arrogance and assuming specialness about what we are. We are some distinct category
Nothing.
of phenomena.
Armed and ready.
Doesn't really care about what category we are. It's just doing what it's doing and doing everything. Infinite diversity is a combination of the two of it. And so we are taking this one slice and saying, no, this has to be treated
Not
separately.
enough minerals.
And I'm open to the idea that it could be a truly separate phenomenon, but it may just be like a snowflake. Every snowflake's different. It may just be that this one
Mention of Earth.
Not enough.
I kind of also
Armed and ready.
suspect that this
Not
whatever
enough.
at all levels throughout the universe.
Not enough minerals.
But maybe this
Not
is a very
enough
kind of
minerals.
peculiar thing that where there's a bunch of chemical systems that compete with each other, survival sources, very right now, there's a lot of much different kinds of systems competing with us, and they can, yeah, maybe that's why
Not
bacteria
enough
were very
minerals.
easy for a long time. Maybe they
This
had
better be good.
that much competition.
Go, go, go!
The doctor is in.
as far as it is,
Not enough minerals.
The definitions of life and what life does and this merged network. Honestly, for me, the strongest argument for remaining agnostic is to avoid that bias. I think this as well on my channel. And then that's about 2 years ago. It was very famous in China. In the 19th century, was claiming to canals on Mars. And from his perspective, and even at the time, they might be ascending to Mars with the first time. And it's just saying to us that this constant is now by next month. Well, of course, there must be just existing bodies to Mars with its rocket caps.
Not enough minerals.
Atmosphere had seasons and that was the president that had emerged into a civilization with a technology of our own because it was building canal systems. Of course, a canal system is a bizarre technology, but it was a product of their time. To them, that was technology.
Not enough
It should be
minerals.
a warning shot and should be solar panels or Starlink or something, whatever, based on use like an inevitable technical signature, that may be that antiquated compared to
Not
what
enough
civilizations
minerals.
far more advanced than us may be
Not
doing.
enough
And
minerals.
so, first of all, he was a product of his time, life was there, inevitably, very much extensively. And so when he saw these lines, the conveyor, Saturn, Mars, the image was altered. And that was experimental science. He was basically the greatest eyesight.
Not
Had been for years, an ophthalmologist has taught him that in Boston. That his eyesight was
Not enough
absolutely
minerals.
spectacular. So he just
Not
was
enough
convinced
minerals.
everything he saw was real. And secondly, he was convinced there was life there. So it just added up, and then it kind of wasted decades of research and
Not
treating
enough
the idea
minerals. Mineral
of
field
Mars being
completed.
inhabited by this civilization. But on the other hand, it's maybe not a waste because it is a lesson in history of how we should be always on guard against our own preconceptions and biases. Whether life is out there and good or not, I just think life might be
If I were running this situation with also talk about
Not enough
if I were running
minerals.
this situation, I would definitely go with an alien. It's just you mentally
Not enough minerals.
Oh, I think
I for sure would have thought didn't cross his mind. But no, not that. But I mean, like, we discover relationships with humans. They can write approach is definitely discuss. Very, very careful about things you want to do.
Not enough minerals.
yeah, I would say I'm not like some extreme denialist. If there is compelling evidence for life, I planet, I would be the first one to be celebrating that and to be shaking hands with whatever. I mean, you know, I grew up with Star Trek, and that was my fantasy, was to, you know, be Captain Kirk and fly across the stars meeting other civilizations. So there's nothing more I want it to be true, as I said, but
Not enough
we
minerals.
just have to guard
Not
against
enough
it when
minerals.
we're assessing data.
Not enough minerals.
But I have to say I'm very skeptical that we'll ever have that Star Trek program. Even if there are just revolutions out there, they're never going to be at a point of just technological lockstep with us, some level of development, even intellectually, the idea that they could have a conversation with us, even through a translator. I mean, you can't communicate with that way. We don't have have abstract conversations with around things. And so the idea that we will ever have that conversation, I'm skeptical of that. I think a lot of us are drawn to that. It may be a replacement.
Not enough
But God doesn't
minerals.
really know that far the biggest civilization that might step in. Bestow wisdom upon that civilization. That they can equally be a threat to us that doesn't even understand the idea of socialization, because it's the only entity on this planet. It just
Not enough minerals.
swells over the entire surface, and it doesn't.
Not enough minerals.
Communicates with each other to create but it has no sense of what communication even is, and so I can be skeptical that that fantasy. Dialogue, yes,
Not enough.
Come in. Here.
Not enough
One thing
minerals.
we're talking about is getting the signature viruses. Lucky our lifetime to be able to life forms. The evidence of dead life forms on Mars. Cookies. Kind of cool.
Cassar de Templari.
That's how one of the activities of another civilization. It's everyone keeps their It's trying to guess at the machinations and motivations of an intelligent being that was
Not enough minerals.
Commander.
grounded, but
Commander.
Not enough minerals.
which could be just like blurting out high power radio signals saying, hey, we're here.
Not enough minerals.
But there could be unintentional signatures. For example, you could have something inside the artificial satellite system, star type system you mentioned. You could expect the data to flight across those satellites as they go around the planet. You could expect a geostationary satellite network locking up satellites and running bouncing across the sky. You can detect the solar panel potentially speculating Earth surface impact, heat island effect, New York is hotter than New York State. What's up? City and so you can thermally map different planets and detect these. So there's a large array and then on the scale you have things which go far beyond that capabilities, such as warp drive signatures, bright flashes, light, gravitational wave detected. You can have Dyson spheres, come back up. A star's covered by some kind of structure of proteins, stars, civilization, and that would be even accurate to some what's up?
Not enough minerals.
What's up? Have an incredibly bright red star. Get one that is physically not present at all, so that would be
Not enough minerals.
signatures to look for.
Not enough
Is there
minerals.
efforts
Not enough minerals.
There has been.
Not enough
Yeah, there has been. And
minerals.
there's been.
Not
I think in addition to
Cassandra Templar.
What's up?
Not enough.
Found convincing examples of what looked like a Dyson sphere star, and then Jason
Not
Wright
enough minerals.
extended this
Not enough minerals.
which is like
Not
a very satellite to look at
Not
the
enough
galaxy.
minerals.
So could the entire galaxy be converted into Dyson spheres? Which is basically this is that you've basically mastered the entire
Not enough.
drives. I am skeptical of
Not enough minerals.
you have
Not enough.
Cassandra
either
Templar.
really have relativity, massive like travel, you choose to do those two things. You really can't have very good. You have basically end up with these temporary paradoxes.
Not enough
Time is
minerals.
incredible the paradoxes.
Can't there
Not
be
enough
pockets of
minerals.
causality?
Not enough
Like where
minerals.
there's like pockets of causality.
You could design it in that way. It could be This just can't be allowed because it breaks all our laws of physics if time travel is possible.
Current laws. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. And so we need to rip up relativity. I mean, that's the point. Is the current laws of physics? So you'd have to rip up our current relativity to make sense of how FTL could live in that universe. Because you can't have relativity, FTL, causality sit nicely and play nicely together.
Don't have quantum mechanics and relativity playing nice together anyway, so it's not
Correct.
like everything
Yeah.
is all nice
Yeah,
little
it's
fast.
certainly not the full picture. There must be more to go.
Yeah.
But
It's already ripped up. Might as well.
The color illuminates my
And
path.
in the process, actually try to connect the two things. Because maybe in the unification of standard model and general relativity, maybe there lies some kind of new wisdom about warp drives. So by the way, warp drives is somehow messing with the fabric of the universe to be able to travel faster than the speed of light.
yeah,
Is that
you're
warp drives?
you're basically bending space-time. You could also do it with a wormhole. Attack, some of the hypothetical FTL systems doesn't have to necessarily be Dowking.
Close one. The put two of the noobs there and watch to try to learn. It's exciting. Alright, we're gonna play against AJJ. I'll put any of this guy. He's pretty good. like in the draft. Oh no. I want draft because I want to try a specific 3-tower combination. Haven't got lucky enough to get it yet, but maybe one day. Maybe right now.
Their drive, the warp drive, it could be any fast fire system. As long as it travels super quickly, it will violate causality.
And presumably that will be observable with like.
Potentially, yeah, potentially. Depends on, I think, the properties of whatever the spacecraft is. I mean, one problem with warp drives is there's all sorts of problems with warp drives, but
Like the start of that sentence.
big warp drive. Yeah, well, there's just this one minor problem that we have to get around. But when it arrives at its destination, it basically collects this vast. This has like an event horizon at the front of it, and so it collects all this radiation at the front.
Should I put an incentive that is cash, like small, or for example, I incentives on the interest rate, as well as the interest rate is here. So I need to decide what I'm incentive. I need to decide where's the value, to which geographies is going to apply, and to which models. So the complexity of this and other areas in the auto industry is extremely high. And as a consequence, the industry has typically worked in a very quick brushes. Like, hey, let's do incentives for the whole country, or let's produce this type of trucks just by incredible, sometimes like brush fuel. Yeah, I think that we're, so many blacks, so many
25
so it's a very tough job.
basis point
We as a
hike.
company have a lot of data sets.
Dang, we're going to the moon.
But our goal is to when we
To
look at
the moon. Huh.
can we build, do we have enough data on hand that we can replicate state of the
Wow.
This is the data that we have. This is our starting.
The S&P chart
We have
looks
the
crazy.
last 3 years.
Alright, come on. What do we got? We got one of them.
We now
We missing the Neo tank. Dang it. Alright, so. Oh, it's the shields.
We buy companies because they have data sets that we think are important. And data
Skeleton.
sets that with ours can increase the way we understand start using them. So we have inventory data. We know every start is getting involved. We know what is inside. We know the configuration that we talked about. Which number we know inside. We know the value. The value of the part is which. The incentive value we want to apply to that part. We get sales transactions from dealers. Those are what we call sales transactions from dealers. With 240 attributes for that sale, which include price, dealer margin, incentive, buying graphics. We got a repair data set that tracks repair events in the industry.
Oh, I just screwed up, dude. Why did I do that? Oh my gosh. Yuck. Mutator. Oh, so watch checking can do shit, cause that sucks, bro. Well, watch check does help with the damage over time.
give you an example. So in this theater that we talked about in Denver, this is before I don't be able to read the details, but the bottom line here is that we're building like an alarm system where we tell the OEM, hey, there's a problem in Denver. The F-150 is dropping market share against Colorado over the last couple of weeks. Here's an alert. Pay attention. Out of all the data you have, pay attention to this today. And we bring the data that will allow that person to understand the context of the problem and to do something about it. Right? Because when they get an alert, they want to say, okay, how am I tracking market share? How is my incentive compared to the incentive of my competitors? How is my configuration moving? So are they moving about the towing package to black color, or what about we bring in all the data finally,
Further against the shields.
I want you to understand what happened yesterday because there's so much data that happened about it.
That's Jefferson Silver.
I want to tell you exactly what I think, what we think, the system thinks you should focus on. Number one. Then number two is to start bringing forecasting models, prediction models, so that we can tell what's going to happen tomorrow if you take certain actions. And for that, we need to put machine learning models, deploy models to the founding platform, so that at this micro moment, you can say, hey, you should order, if you're going to send cars to Denver, this is what you should spend, by the way. That will not be enough. I will put an incentive of $59 down in order to gain 1% more money.
Woo!
No problem.
Not for him to go.
Alright, a little market update. SoFi is absolutely flying right now.
I wanted to go next to England, but because of the sweet stadium thing, I'm feeling, since I'm on the fence, we'll go the safe way.
Alright, 3 gigs at 720. There we go. SoFi. Tesla 176, House 791, dollars again, SoFi 720. Not bad. Meta 160, Snapchat down. Not bad at all. Market reaction pretty nice. Obviously, growth better cons, whatever he says will affect the market as well. Look, in terms of like, is this real or not? I don't know. 25 basis points seems rather dovish. Seems like the market will be able to handle that. If we're finally out of the clear at the bottom in October, then maybe it's up from here. But I think we got to hear what Jerome says. I think February for you guys is really important. Do I think some of these stocks can hold up at this level? Not really. I don't think SoFi can stay at 7.1. I also don't think Palantir is going to stay at 791. I think they're going to come back down into the 6. Give it time. Especially over the next couple of days, as a lot of people are going to pick them up. You got to remember, people that loaded up at $4 a lot at Palantir at $5.90, they are taking their profits. So people will start selling, especially when they feel, things are getting like if SoFi goes down to $7, it's just at $7.20, people are going to want to take the profit. So we're going to see where the market treats them. But as of now, not every stock is green. It's not like a green utopia, but a decent amount of them are green. So it's doing okay. It's doing all right. Tesla being the best at 175. Well. All right, let's take a break right now. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, so let's take a look at how Twitter's reacting to Jerome and what he is going to say. Now, whatever Jerome's going to say is pretty much going to determine, you know, a lot of what's going on. Let's take a look at the trending tweets on the FOMC. 20-minute break. Okay, cool. 20-minute break. Cool. So we can cover stocks and boring stuff instead of Palantir. Next 20 minutes. All right. Let's present the screen. Let's see how Twitter's reacting. Boom, 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 boom. FOMC. Okay, FOMC is the 25 basis point increase we see right here. Indicators point to modest growth in semiconductor stocking is robust 6-month above somewhat bust elevated. Russian mortgage remaining companies economic hardship.
Income harder. This is amazing. Watch check plus
Starcraft. Wow. 4 and 3/4. So it went from, or sorry, to 4, 1.5, 24, 2, 4, 3, 4. Okay, that's where you get the 25 basis points. This is pretty strongly committed to returning inflation to its 2% objective. Alright, so they think they want 25. Kelly suggests by the end of the FOMC will be cutting in an effort to get inflation back up to 2%. Wow, look at this. APM's Kelly suggests by the end of the year FOMC will be cutting rates in an effort to get inflation back up. Are we going to have a roaring 2023? Are we going to have these? Remember, this is one thing I've been talking about for a while. Every year since 1968, year after the election, rally an average. An average of 50% every single year after this. So, I mean, 2023 is a year out of 50%. What if we start rallying something? You know, what if it fits into that category? 25 bases, boom, boom, boom. Let's see, 25 bases. Stock market loves it. I mean, stock market's not bad about it. Let's see what CNBC has to say. What some of the other people are talking about. Wow, I did not expect 25, guys. I did not expect it. I thought it was going to be 50. I really, really thought it was going to be 50. I did not expect that. I mean, I thought the dude, Jerome was not going to let it end up with that. Yeah, go back to Tesla 135, SoFi down already. Just don't know if they have the next month or two. I mean, the whole market, again, SoFi and Palantir are only up. SoFi has great earnings, but they're only up because of the market. Like, eventually they will have to also succumb to the market coming down. The question is the market going to come down? That's the question. C3 AI, it is up. Wow, look at that. Since December 27th, up 100%. Unbelievable, more than 100%. Wow.
Not enough
So we
minerals.
loaded up C3 AI at $10. It's at $21 right now, up 100%. Not bad, man. Netflix is up as well. Nasdaq 11.5 as well. Alibaba at 11. Alibaba. Good. Snowflake doing well. Taiwan consumption rate has 91. Where's ARK? ARK is probably up on this, right? ARK's at $40. ARK bottomed at 29 on December 29th. Yeah, the market likes it. The market likes it. It's all about the speech after the rate hike.
So here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean the speech and
This
Jerome
guy,
tends to use it. The
this
thing is,
guy.
I don't know how bullish or how hawkish you can be if you raise rates. I mean, if you by only 25, right? Like, how hawkish are you actually going to try to be in this situation? Because you would have to say some stuff that really pisses off the market after giving them 25.
Here we
It
go,
seems like the
man.
pressure got
Should
you.
distract
Like, didn't justify
sales
doing
guys.
50, like, even is going and
Go attack, go attack.
going down.
Come on, steps. Come on. That's better.
That's way too warm up. Yeah, it's another good move, man. You dropped into that 5 or something, and it ran up to 80 that day. So I mean, it's not bad. Not a bad job with that one. Wow, it's interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of different people on their videos that think that 25 basis points is expected. That's weird. I guess I thought it was 50. I thought it was 50. triple guard, there was most of the thoughts of 25. I expected 50. 50 would have been better, he's a pushover. It's like there's two schools of thought. Either 50 would have been better, or whatever. Triple my SoFi is very dip, 4.3 after 2 years of holding. Not bad, Jack. Is your average down to that level? That's pretty amazing, or at least closer to that level. Triple your SoFi at 4.3. You got the bottom. You got the bottom. Yeah, they got the ticker AI. That was a good one. They got the ticker AI. I mean, look, so the CEO of C3 AI literally said that if anyone was to read the information, it's like their wrist or something. Like, this is wild shit. But thanks for streaming. I got plenty of shares down here. Wow, you're like margin. Interesting, Carlos. Okay. Margin's a little scary. As long as you know what you're doing, then you're good. Margin. Robin keeps asking, like, hey, instead of 25 game margin, we do 50 game margin. And I was just like, yeah, no. I'm not going to do 50 because Carvana stock or whatever is valued. Yeah, I mean, I probably should have known he was thinking 25. My perspective was just like...
Additional supply depots required.
To be more hawkish because they want to guarantee this 2%, and I think he was annoyed that unemployment numbers didn't come the way the Fed wanted them to come. Even with all the layoffs, people were still massively getting them out, great jobs. And so, my perspective was, because of unemployment in particular, he's going to really try. My average is 79, 30. That's basically that. 25. I'll be streaming Meta earnings live at 4. I'll cover the call. I think Facebook's gonna hit it out of the park with ads. I think Metaverse cap. I was listening to the Spotify earnings call just now, guys. I can just talk in a second. But I think the Metaverse capex will go down. Like they're gonna make some aggressive cuts to get rid of that stuff and become more efficient. But I think the call will do relatively well. I mean, it's up over 50% since the lows at 88, so it's doing pretty well. So I was listening to the Spotify call today. Let's go to Spotify stock, and we'll get back to the Foundry in a couple minutes. Up at 115, probably deserves to be here just given the undervaluation of the company from a technical perspective. Like 79 is just too low for Spotify. Like there's an argument, right, where like the company is just undervalued on pure technicals. Like it's gonna run with the rest of the value, the rest of the macro. But on a fundamental basis, I was listening to Daniel. Like literally, like some of these bets some of them were good, but some of them were not. He was like, if I have to go back to it again, I would kind of think that's not. And as a shareholder, I'm like, hundreds of millions, if not close to $1 billion on content, and now you're telling me some of it was justified, some of it was not. And I mean, there was just a lot there. There was nothing to look forward to. They're like, maybe we'll get to 30% margins in 5 years. They weren't being specific about anything. They don't give guidance. I'm like, how? There's no guidance. Like, why is there? You're a content company. You can see how many subscribers you get, how much revenue you get, how much ads you get. How can you not give guidance? Like, imagine Google not giving guidance. Like, why are you? So just listening and the tonality of their voices, they're like, yeah, we got a ton of users, but we can't make any money. I'm just like, so what is the vision here? What is the goal? So I mean, it's interesting. A lot of companies are trying to figure out and navigate what they're trying to do at this point, and so everyone's trying to figure it out. Okay, let's see this. Back to the encounter, we'll be back in about 6 minutes. Check that out. And then we'll discuss. Let's take a look at this. Markets are wrong about the Fed's pivot. So the Fed pivot would be cutting rates this year. Let's see if there's any logic behind that.
Question of the day, which is, and how close the Fed are down? And how Marathon, $24 million credit
25 basis points with 25 basis points again in March, and so you started with 25 basis points in March a year ago. That'll be 500 basis points over the course of the year. And so it's all about Powell and Fed's credibility right now. I think you guys are spot on talking about this because the markets are listening to the forward curves pricing it a 50 basis points easing by this fall. The markets are wrong. That's what we lose. The Fed will hold this line, so although they'll stop around 5, maybe 5 1/4, our call's 5, but that's all noise. But there's 5 or 5 inflation. It's those, but primarily because of inflation. And so here's the most interesting scenario. So let me give you 2 scenarios. Inflation.
Insufficient vesting cost.
Not the economy is still growing at a nice rate, and I believe the economy is still growing at a nice rate by year end, if it rolls into. That's not a base case that could roll into. But that'll be a shock to the market if you roll into and the Fed doesn't ease it. Because if the Fed eases at 2, it's just going to reignite inflation. Because the economy is too strong not to reignite inflation. But then if inflation rolls over to 3 to 4%, and we think that's where it's going to roll over to by year end and stay there for a bit, then there's no way the Fed is easing. So we think the market's got it wrong. That's why the market's so vulnerable. And you should use this January rally as a way to kind of reposition.
Okay, so that's one perspective of why the market has not. If you guys want to hear Powell or want to go back to Foundry, it's up to you guys. I don't care which one. I personally want to see Foundry, but I honestly don't care. We can listen to Powell. Like Powell's fine. Who's the presenter for Foundry? Who's presenting for Foundry?
10th of December.
Foundry. Then we have Foundry not. If there's an interesting presenter, we'll watch it. If it's a boring presenter, we can go to the Fed. Foundry. Everyone wants to do Foundry? Powell, a little bit. Powell's not going to say anything interesting though, guys. Like,
Additional supply depots required. Additional supply depots required.
Spectacle of it, but it's really boring. I've done this like 5 times. Like, we have decided, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's just gonna be like, well, inflation's going down, and, you know, hopefully. I think the only interesting question that it's good for Howard to ask is, like, so do you think you were wrong on not cutting rates until, like, 2025? And he's probably gonna say yeah. But it's down to how not able to do things, yeah, it's like, he's just not gonna say anything.
Yeah, I screwed up my goal.
Like, watch it. I'd rather do Foundry as well, but if you guys want... Alright, everyone says Foundry. We'll do Foundry. Alright, cool. So, we should have Foundry back in like a minute. Yeah. So far, Foundry Con has been pretty interesting. We've had Deborah talking. She was, for those that remember, her and Fauci pretty during the COVID times. And, presenting was actually really interesting because that's a big name in the healthcare space. So having someone like her and incorporating Foundry, the fact that Foundry was working with her, right? Like, so Foundry was playing a pivotal role. Remember, another pandemic doesn't need to happen. These things need to be prepared, and the preparation itself is what it's like. Hey, man, I got laid off from tech layoffs. That's why I'm able to watch your stream this morning. Damn, Carlos. Man, I'm sorry about that. I appreciate you still being here, though. That's rough, man. I'm wishing you the best. I hope anything. I mean, look, I don't know if I can help. I have some. If you want to reach out to me in any way, I can try. I have some people like that. Startups. We've got coming back in a second. I stand by my take. Our presentation was really good and really important.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream for a sec because it's lagging
Look,
so much.
Poucher's partnership with Cardinal Health
Peace.
was
Eat
just
healthy.
an